right? Like if you're eating hyper palatable foods, 30 minutes in, you want another round, right? You eat a healthy bone broth or wonton soup or a ramen bowl, you're satiated for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. So people don't realize like what you eat also influences certain metabolic regulations of whether or not the body wants more food or it's good and it can fast and it can be fine.
All right, guys, got Nate Belmar here today. We're going to learn some health hacks today.
Health, wealth, longevity, and just overall human optimization.
Love it, man.
And anime.
Ooh, I love anime. We'll start with anime then.
Let's start with anime.
What's your favorite anime? Best of all time?
So I don't have one. Like I don't have a favorite. I feel like old school anime is a lot better than what's currently going on now. I feel like now they're just using the medium as propaganda. But old school anime, Samurai Champloo, Naruto, Bleach, One Piece, Dragon Ball Z, like all the old Akira, like all these old school animes that convey a message with a heroic arc. I'm an aficionado of that. Now, what got me into anime? Naruto. Like that got me into anime. I was like officially into anime. I used to watch other things like Captain Tsubasa, you know, the soccer one, Doraemon, which is like the Japanese blue cat, always helping Novita because he's basically like the noob that needs help. But I would watch that. But what got me into anime, like the ecosystem, the genre, the style, the medium of storytelling was Naruto.
Yeah, Naruto got me into.
When do you start watching Naruto?
Probably high school, and then I got into Bleach. Then I watched Samurai Champloo, which is in my top 3.
Yeah.
That's a classic. I wish they made more of that one.
Yeah.
I never got into One Piece though.
Well, One Piece it's a long anime, so it's
too long.
It's where I tell people it's kind of like if you haven't watched it since you started, like don't watch it, or go to those websites where you can cut all the fillers out, all the ovas, all the fillers. You just watch straight canon.
I used to skip fillers.
Yeah, dude, it's so annoying. It's so annoying. They're like, okay, we need some time for the next story. Let's start spamming.
I know.
Yeah.
I didn't know anime got compromised though with programming.
Well, I mean, all it is programming is symbols, stories, and they use the medium, which is a very viable medium because you're able to express emotion in a potentiated way that you cannot with human because you have the human intrinsic factor, which is faulty, right? That's why people go to auditions because they practice. They put people under pressure who can perform well. So you have human error. Now, when you can create something, draw it, animate it, the factor of being able to potentiate an emotion without it looking cheesy is a lot more plausible. Epic fights, epic scenes, epic confrontations. So I feel like once the medium blew up, people looked at it and they're like, well, there's a lot of traction in terms of S-curve of adoption of this current medium of information. So I feel like now they realize perhaps it's a more viable option to give information than a cartoon because cartoons are dumb.
Yeah, I never got as emotional with cartoons and anime.
Why do you think that is?
Good question. Well,
No, think about it. Give me a few ideas. Like, what's the difference between cartoons and anime?
I think the fights for me are what got me emotional.
Okay.
But with the anime, I guess there's more character arc and character build up, right?
Think deeper. Like, think of it like the archetypes, like the character archetypes. Okay, so let's put this. Every healthy home, every healthy environment needs a father figure, needs a mother figure. There has to be that duality for there to be certain homeostasis. Now, you look at cartoons, look at the father figures. What do they portray? At a conscious and subconscious level. Dumb, irresponsible, can't pay their bills, goofy, Simpsons, American. The list goes on. One dumb character after the other. So a child that watches this at the age of 4, 5, 6, at a subconscious level can relate a lot of the attributes of the cartoon to their dad. And then there's conflict. Now, if you watch anime, you look at the hero type going through battles, and then you look at your dad like, damn, bro, he's probably going through hell. Like, it shifts your perspective because it's not about propaganda. It's more about like story type, archetype, the hero type. And I feel like one is just pure dumb entertainment and dopamine. The other one, there's actually like intrinsic value in storytelling. And something that's been lost in society is communication, right? We've become a scientific society that has gotten rid of certain storytelling habits from the past. in the past you would have the storytellers, the sage class that would grab stories or key concepts that were pivotal for society, whether it's information that they wanted to distill for the common crowd, and they would do it through stories. Anime is stories.
Absolutely.
What do you do with it? It's up to the person.
I love that. Yeah, anime is important. I know you incorporate it in your business too.
Well, it's not even business. It's like a lifestyle, bro. Like the way I dress, the way I think. And I'm not saying like anime is the end all be all. Like I have a lot of beef with it, and I say all the time in anime shreds. But there's a lot of good stuff in it that you can't find anywhere else, in my opinion.
I'll vouch.
Yeah.
Greatest anime fight of all time. Who you got?
Okay. I'll give you like top 3 fights. I was like, dang.
Okay.
These were epic in Naruto. So the first fight, this was what kind of like got me into like, dude, I need to level up, was Rock Lee Gaara.
Oh, classic.
Yeah.
I still rewatch that.
Yeah, I rewatch it. And when they make the remake, I'll rewatch it. It's like that first scene where he's like, oh, Guy Sensei, can I take my ankle? He's like, okay, do it. He just like drops it and you're like, okay, it's about to go down. It went down. Those things, like, imagine a human being try to do that. Like, it just looks cheesy. Like, what, you know, no, it just doesn't work. So the medium's there. The medium's cool. So say Gaara, Rock Lee, Naruto Sasuke, when Naruto tries to stop Sasuke with going to Orochimaru. Yeah. And I would probably say that Jiraiya pain battle, bro. That literally got me, bro.
It's like,
one. Yeah. So that one got me. But in terms of like epic fights, I think Naruto overall just has probably some of the best fight scenes.
Naruto Pain's my favorite fight of all time.
Great.
I've watched that one probably 50 times.
I've watched that a lot as well.
Yeah, that's a really emotional one.
And think about it. They both come from the stem like, they both stem, like the origin, the storytelling from the same teacher. Their paths were completely different.
Right.
So they're in that shows the virtue of information in complete harmonious relationship to free will. Because they both chose complete different paths, regardless of the same information that was distilled to them.
Right. Yeah, there's a deep message there hidden.
That's what I'm saying. All you have to do is like try to pick up the hidden pieces of information within the story.
Right.
And it's very hard to do that, stemming back to what I was saying. We become a society that's very scientific. So we're all about numbers and we're all about getting stuff done, right? We're not about like, back in the day, people would tell stories. Like you would pass down storytelling from father to son, and son grows up to be a father to tell it. It was just an archetype that we've lost. Now we're just fed information, and then we've become scared to speak out in public. Like, what's the purpose of learning something if you're not going to try to, is it just for yourself? Is it just for self-entertainment, right? And I feel like that's a lot of cartoons. And I'll just sit down and watch SpongeBob. I'm like, okay, I've lost some IQ points here. Like, I'm being, yeah, maybe smoke a joint, watch Rick and Morty, but like, okay, how many times are you going to do that before your dopamine levels are so fried that that's all you depend on?
Yeah, I don't want my kids ever watching like cartoons.
I would tell them, like, don't watch that. Like, I'll tell them, watch that, but if you watch that, you'll become dumb. And when I see them, like, yeah, you look a little bit dumber today. Like, I'll tell them, like, but you have to give people free will. I feel like with your kids, like, if you tell them don't do it, like, oh, don't watch, or like, no, like you have to like tell them why and give them your opinion and be open about it. People are open about it, right? People condemn other people, put themselves on a pedestal, and live a fake life, right? Everybody's wearing masks. That being said, going back to anime, top 3 characters in Naruto: Jiraiya, first Hokage, and Itachi.
Was that the wooden one?
Yeah, he's Hashirama.
Wow, I've never heard that in a top 3 list.
Hashirama for sure.
Why do you like him so much?
He's like he's probably the most powerful ninja if you really think about it. Like he could take on Madara, which all the Kages together couldn't, but he's still a free spirit. Like he didn't really care, dude. Like he wasn't flexing his power and used it for his own good. Like he was just trying to create something, which was Konoha, which was the Leaf Village, right? And they tried to include Madara in the operation, but then you see how stuff goes down because he chose his path, which is if I had to tell somebody, like, if you look at Hollywood, if you look at movies, there's one common theme. And this is something I learned about 10, 12 years ago in storytelling. Most of the stories are correlated with vengeance.
Yeah.
Some sort of retribution.
Right. All the superhero movies.
Everything. Like, I can off the top of my list, I can tell you vengeance, and it manifests itself in different ways. Some of it, we could look at it and condemn it and be like, oh, he deserves to go to jail. Some of it, we'd look at it and we're like, well, the bastard he killed deserved it. So based on our emotion or biases, we can villainize somebody or put them on a pedestal and it can become a hero. But there's that theme of vengeance, right? Like something, so it's kind of like and you see that a lot. And sometimes in anime, you don't see that, bro. It's kind of like, you see that in Naruto all the time, bro. Like homie gets whacked and he doesn't care. There's a meme, I think is like, I know you, that you know me, that I know you. And I was like, yeah, he gets it. So it's that whole like forgiveness aspect that has been lost also in society. And the reason it's been lost is there's so much propaganda, there's so much hate, there's so much information. People are so optimized in terms of their health, inflammation, that they're more reactive, right? They don't think pragmatically. They don't sit down and be like, okay, it's all reaction, emotion, because there's a lot of inflammation. So I feel like it's like all the programming, like what music are you listening to? You're listening to terrible rap music, heavy metal, then you're watching dumb cartoons, you're eating terrible food, you're doing tap water, like things go compounding. They're like, yeah, bro, I'm like trying, but I don't know why. And I'm like, bro, your baseline is so low that no wonder everything seems like bad.
Right. They're getting hit from so many angles.
And they don't know it. That's the worst part.
Yeah, because people just assume the food, but there's so many other...
Well, people assume, oh, that person also is on a diet or that person eats healthy. It's like, no, that person eats like a normal human would 1,000 years ago. Right?
That's considered healthy now.
That's considered healthy. It's like, no, you're eating inorganic matter that is changing your biology and you don't even realize it.
Right. Processed food. 80% of the American diet now.
I mean, yeah. And not only here, worldwide.
Oh, yeah? It's other countries now?
I mean, I wouldn't say all the countries, but I travel a lot. And you'll see a lot of... The packaging is different. The ingredients are different. The prices are different. But the medium of it not being organic matter that's good for you is still there. High seed, like inflammation in terms of seed oils. Chicken, like, yeah, maybe the chicken is not from that inorganic farm that pumps it with GMOs, but the way you still treat it is ineffective and not good. So I'm always looking like for grass-fed, organic. And the truth is, if you can learn how to feast and fast and not doing like tons of meals a day, you realize that you don't need that much food in order to like build a good physique and have a good lifestyle. That's just more or less how I approach it. And there's like a million reasons why. But one of them is satiety, right? Like if you're eating hyper-palatable foods, 30 minutes in, you want another round, right? You eat a healthy bone broth or wonton soup or a ramen bowl, you're satiated for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. So people don't realize like what you eat also influences certain metabolic regulations of whether or not the body wants more food or it's good and it can fast and it can be fine. And that's all metabolic flexibility, and that's a whole different topic. But we went like from like anime all the way to like, yeah, but that's fine.
Yeah, I know you're coming off a fast. How often are you fasting right now?
So it's all like cycles. So I'm like in anime shreds, I do two things. It's the way of vitality for people who want to shred and the way of the builder for people who want to put on muscle. But the same process is the same. Like there's certain pillars that have to be addressed, like metabolic flexibility. Like you tapping into fat just as well as you can tap into carbohydrates, right? Regardless of the path, it being feasting and fasting and more fasting than feasting because you're trying to shred and create more movement. But honestly, I don't track, bro. Like I'll go 2-day fast, 3-day fast, sometimes 8 hours, sometimes 16 hours. I don't really track. I do try to push myself though. Like, and I'll do, I have certain protocols like to get rid of hunger regulation. And it's, but I'm not like setting heavy PRs or anything. Like in May when I launched Anime Shreds, I stopped working out. Like I didn't do sit-ups, I didn't do push-ups, I didn't do anything. That didn't mean I didn't live a dynamic lifestyle. That didn't mean I didn't go through heavy periods of like fasting or stretching or walking. I just had a hypothesis that you could still maintain good muscle composition if you're metabolically flexible, if you can fast, right? And if you can tap into that fat that's there. So what I had done was I bulked up to like almost 220. I had some fat on me. And I'm like, okay, but I was already a little fried because I was putting myself under a lot of heavy pressure, a lot of weight. It was a cold environment. I was up in the mountains. I'm like, okay, I need a shred. Now, I could take the approach of like doing cardio, all this and that, but I'm like, no, I need to get a lot of work done. There's a lot of things I need to do. So, dude, it was like waking up, digestive tea, potions, like going on walks, focusing on my breathing, getting sunlight, like a lot of things that helped me going through the fast. But what people don't realize is you could do fast within a fast, right? Like a genjutsu within a genjutsu. It's kind of like you do a fast of autophagy. So you do 15 calories or less. And you push that as long as you can. And then once you feel like you can't go any more, that's fine. Do a fast from food. So you can drink structured water, do like fruits or juices or teas, right? Just do liquid state or even smoothies or like a bone broth. But you're still giving your body a break from actual matter and solid food, right? That's just been my whole take on it. And I feel like it's completely shifted my paradigm in terms of like approaching fitness. Because I'm like looking lean, I'm good. But I realized I started losing muscle composition. Like a month and a half in, I probably looked some of the best I've ever looked.
Wow.
Because I'd lost fat and the muscle is still there, right? And when you become metabolically flexible, you become a lot better at sparing like protein, muscle, everything. The issue is you need to become metabolically flexible first. The issue also is I put on a lot of weight. So I had a lot of wiggle room to like reduce. Why was I fine with this? Because I know recomp is always easier. Like if I start reintroducing carbohydrates now, which I've done, high levels of creatine, because I cut a lot of supplements, everything on purpose. I want to do like a detox. When you reintroduce it, your body absorbs it just like that, bro. Just like that. So now I started like alkalizing the body. I was telling you I was in Orlando doing all the protocols.
Yeah.
And now what I'm doing is I'm going to do a lot of body weight, probably full body workout, body weight and bands, get warmed up, alkalinized. 2 weeks in, I'll probably start breaking. So I'll do top body and then in a symbiotic relationship, stretch the bottom part and then switch it around. And then after a week, I'll probably start doing the normal splits like chest and triceps, back and biceps, legs, shoulders and abs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like understanding that the gym is just one facet of fitness, or like people don't get like you looking jacked or having a six pack doesn't mean you're healthy.
You could still have visceral fat.
Visceral fat, you could have inflammation, you could have scoliosis, you could have pinched nerves, you could have a million things that you don't know of. You could have tons of nanoplastics in your testicles, or you could have potential heart attack risk because there's not enough circulation, or you do tons of chronic running, tons of carbohydrates, tons of inflammation. You're putting a lot of stress on the valves. And that's why you have all these guys that were marathon runners 50, 60, 70 years ago on the carb-centric diet that they're all preaching about, that people are spending thousands of dollars listening to. They're all dying at a young age because they put so much stress on the body with such high levels of inflammation that atrofio, which basically caused the purpose of the heart with the valves is for it to be soft, right? Because you're pumping the blood and it's constantly moving. If you're hardening it, what happens? If you get a cut or a scar, the tissue that comes back might look like the skin, but if you keep getting cut and cut and cut, it's going to harden and harden. So it's that issue, is putting that much strain on the valve that the valve becomes hardened. So the older you become, if the valve is hardened, it's a lot harder for the heart to do its proper function, which is to circulate the blood.
Right.
What people don't realize is the heart can't do all that by itself. Like you need to aid it with movement, with like there's a lot of things that you can do to instigate blood flow that's going to aid in the heart. It's like people are working their heart overtime, right? And as they go from a sedentary lifestyle to chronic cardio, thinking that's going to help, and then they become hungry and go back to eating carbohydrates. Like the whole paradigm is like dumb.
Yeah, because they tell fat people to run.
I see people, bro, on the street just like, you see in their face, bro. They're like, they're hurting, dude. It's not even like pain. It's like pain from inflammation. You just see it. I'm like, dude. And then they're running on wrong shoes and their foot's not even like their brain. Dude, it's just a disaster. And I see it. And if they'll ask me, like if I'm like shirtless or walking, they'll be like, bro, what are you doing? I'll be like, bro, honestly, you should fast, do some teas and go for a walk and like stretch.
And that's way easier than
it's way easier, less
running.
taxing, and you can pull it off in a fasted state.
Right.
Like if you run a lot or you swim a lot, you'll probably get hungry. With running, I feel like right after I get thirsty, but an hour after I'll be hungry. But I can mitigate that if I'm just like walking, stretching, maybe doing like zone 2 training with bands or body weight or even like stretching.
Yeah. So it is possible to get shredded without lifting though?
Yeah. You can get shredded. You can get shredding with feasting and fasting cycles, metabolic flexibility, and understanding how to tell your brain to tap into fat, not carbohydrates. The issue is most people have the keto flu, which is not really the keto flu. It's just you go from a terrible lifestyle and the pendulum swing hit so hard and your homeostasis became disrupted and your brain's freaking out because it went through all the sugar. And all these years, what do? You give it sugar, and now you're not giving it sugar. So the brain, of course, is going to freak out. So we have to do is go reducing the amount of sugar with percentages and see how your body feels. Like I don't do ketones, stick peeing, nothing of that. It's all like there's certain signals naturally that if you look at and you pay attention, your body will tell you, okay, you're metabolically flexible, or hey, you can tap into fat.
Yeah.
Because you're not doing cardio and you're just shredding.
Makes a lot of sense to me because there's other people that say you should eat 5 to 6 meals a day.
Botted. Now, under certain parameters, for the regular individual that has a 9 to 5 family, all that, imagine him trying to eat tons of meals. First of all, most of the meals are microwaved because of the convenience. So we address that. Okay, so let's not microwave it. How are you doing that? Not a lot of people are doing tons of meals without microwaving. That's the first problem. I can name you 5 more, but that's the first one. So let's address the first one.
What's the problem with microwaves?
Microwaves, it basically bastardizes all the nutrients in the food, so you're just eating matter. So if you want to fill your stomach, you might as well just drink water.
Wow, so it cooks out all the vitamins and minerals.
I believe so.
Wow.
Especially over long periods of time. And what people don't realize is food by itself automatically has already been bastardized. Like, we're not absorbing as much nutrients as we used to, right? The soil, they don't practice like the back in the day what they would practice in terms of seasons of harvesting the soil, right? And using the soil and then giving it sabbatical. People don't give the soil sabbatical. People just bastardize it and commercialize it. That's the biggest problem. Then the second problem is you're getting that bastardized meal and then putting it into a microwave and you're bastardizing even more. And then you're putting it into your stomach, oh, protein. Yeah, but how much of it is actually bioavailable? How much protein are you actually getting there?
Wow. So you got to cook it on a grill or?
Not really. I'll tell you what I do. Idea is understanding spices, understanding blends, understanding that what you have to focus on is saving time, right? So what kind of meals do I do? Air fryer, of course, ceramic. You're not going to do Teflon. So it's very basic. Is spend 5 to 10 minutes spicing your meal however you want, whether it's wings, meat, burger, whatever. You put it first on the air fryer, but I wouldn't suggest doing air fryer for people who are trying to get shredded. And I have a thesis behind it, or a hypothesis behind it, but we can address that later. I would suggest more of approach where you're actually using like the oven, right? So what I would do is, instead of grabbing my ground beef, this is what I see a lot of people cooking cast iron. They're charring it and making it crazy. And I feel like it's not that good on the body in terms of oxidative stress because of the incineration that's occurring on the meat. And then you have the opposite spectrum, which is people that eat the raw meat, right? Which I don't eat raw food. And I have many reasons as to why I don't eat it. Do I agree with some parts? Yes. Do I disagree with other parts? Yes. But that's a whole different podcast. What I like to do with my meat is I'll cook it in coconut water. I'll cook it in bone broth. I'll cook it in either water or fat soluble in a basically glass tray. And I'll put the meat and I'll put like bone broth. I'll even like, if I'm trying to bulk, I'll put a whole piece of like stick of butter. And I'll put all my spices. I can do, so I think something you want to address is how can you facilitate digestion? And one great thing is ginger. So something I would do is always fresh grated ginger on top of all my meat, and I would let that cook in there, stew in there. Prep time, 5 minutes. By the time I got down there, it would be ready 30 minutes, an hour. What I was doing, I was working out, I was getting done, the alarm went off. Okay, food's ready. I'm not in there cooking. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to optimize. So baking your food, crock pot, like all these things are super useful. Like, I can tell you, I can make an amazing like Pagapunched in terms of boosting testosterone, in terms of you tapping into fat, in terms of caloric surplus, in terms of benefits that you can extrapolate from food if you're in a fasted state, it being more bioavailable because it's in a liquid form. You're in a fasted state and you're drinking it warm. And that's like doing bone broth, like doing your own bone broth. And it doesn't take a long time. It's just most people either buy bone broth, which can be expensive. So what I would do is kind of like, be like, okay, if I'm going to be cooking like wings or I'm going to be doing a whole rotisserie chicken or two, like save the bones and use that the next day. And you're like, okay, I'm going to go on a fast. And then, so you're kind of like sequencing based off of the resources you have.
Right.
And based off of the goal that you have, which is, if it's fasting, I would do sparkling water, coffee, shredder gourd, like keep it very light. And like, okay, I'm starting to get hungry. Perfect. Instead of breaking my fast right away, because your stomach's also a little bit smaller. If you eat a ribeye, you're going to feel it. Give it bone broth. Heat, warm, cayenne, stimulate the body, go for a walk, chew on something, pretend that you're eating so you stimulate the body, like mastic gum or whatever.
Right.
Then you come back and then food's ready because you ate that. But that thing took me 5 minutes to make and I left it over 2 days, all the ingredients, and that's what I'm drinking first thing.
Sounds amazing.
And you know what I do? It's you tap in protein, right, from the bone broth, and then fat. So when I break my fast, I'm introducing fat, not carbohydrates, as the resource for my body to use. And if I do that over long periods of time, guess what happens? The body starts using fat, right, as its resource. So that's why when people are like, oh, bro, I go on fasting, I feel great. And yeah, it's because you're using fat. If not, you're going crazy. You're like, give me sugar.
Wow, that is brilliant. I love that. I was on your Twitter. So you bring a shower filter wherever
Everywhere.
you travel.
Yes, sir.
And you put it in the hotel shower?
In the hotel showers, yes.
Why?
So 101, if you want good skin, healthy skin, you have to realize it's an organ. You have to realize that there's micro tears occurring all the time. You have to realize that when there are lesions, when there are cuts, right, there are microabrasions that if the wrong, or if the not the ideal things that you want in your body, like toxins, metals, come in there over long periods of time, you absorb it. Things, particles in the air, things in the water. So people are like, bro, what cream can I use? What exfoliation? What mask? I'm like, what? No. 101 is put a filter on, get rid of all the debris, get rid of all the metal. All I have to do, I don't have to be a rocket scientist, a conspiracy theorist, like nothing. All I have to do is have half a brain cell, look at the pipes, and be like, okay, that's where the water's going through. That's what I'm getting. That's it. Like that's, at least for me, I don't have to go into numbers. I don't have to go into the how many metals are in this or that. And it's like, no, just use common sense. The issue is people prefer spending $1,000 on a Gucci bag or something like that than spending $50 on a good water filter. Like I'll take it with me all the time. And when I go on airports, I don't scan. Like I don't go through.
Oh, you don't go through the body scan?
I don't fry myself. It's like, yes, I shall enter into the microwave. Blast me. Well, I'm like, no, I opt out, and they'll pat you down.
I need to start doing that.
Yeah. So what people need to understand is you're an electrical being, right? Like we're not just body. That's what people don't understand. When you start realizing we're like, I'm not saying multi-dimensions like we're living in altered states, but there's a lot more that meets the eye in terms of the human potential. Electricity is one of them. So you realize you're in an airport. That's why I'm wearing EMF hat right now.
Oh, that's an EMF
This
hat?
is EMF. I'm not wearing just a hat just to look cool. This is silver threading inside. It's full EMF. I'm just not wearing a tinfoil hat. This is my tinfoil hat. Would I wear a tinfoil hat if I was in those kind of situations? 100%.
Damn.
It'd probably more look like a samurai hat or something because it fit the theme. But
and those are blue light blockers too.
These are blue light blockers. Yeah, you can actually try them on later. They're actually very convenient. And I have different hues for different times of the day.
Wow.
And sometimes I'll realize, like, especially here in Florida, I'll go out in the sun, and if I don't have my blockers on, like just the brightness of the sun hitting the white pavement and hitting my eyes, like I feel it. So I'll put those on, get into the day, ease in, and then I'll take them off. I'll feel good. I'll get a few hours of blue light, like it's fine. And then as the day progresses, I start putting different, and I have tons of pairs, bro.
Damn. So you're really worried about the EMF and the light damage?
Yeah, 100%. Like people don't realize how bad it is.
It's that bad?
It's that bad. Like it's that bad. And I'm saying from personal experience, and when you go on long fasts and you're not eating food, everything's amplified. Like I don't sleep on a normal bed. I sleep on a Japanese futon with a PMF mat on top of it.
Wow.
And I put a silver what do you call it? Sheet or cotton sheet on top, and that's what I sleep on. And I feel phenomenal.
Damn.
Because I'm charging all night, right? And I'm not going to say everything that I do, but that's one of the things I do. And the whole purpose and idea behind it is understanding that most people, right? So I'm going to do this for the camera so they understand context. Humans throughout society look different based on how society operates and based on the jobs and the roles that take at play. Most of the roles that take at play now are sedentary. It's a lot of pushing motion, right? It's a lot of moving forward. It's a lot of hunching. It's a lot of curving.
Right.
That's affecting the spine. That's affecting the scapula, right? And then you have all the gym bros that want big chests. So adding more pushing movement, right? No retraction. So then you have all this imbalance, right? That's automatic based on how society already operates. Like, it's simple things like you being in the car driving, right? Like if you have a big wallet in your butt, over long periods of time, that's going to cause a hip imbalance.
Wow.
If you don't learn how to sit properly, you always sit on one side like this, that's going to cause an imbalance. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, maybe not in a week, but over a year, 2 years, it will. So it's just like learning how to adopt certain stances that are good for the body. Like, and it's just doing it over time, and it goes compounding. Simple stuff.
Power stances, right?
It doesn't even have to be power stance. It's like human stance. Like, like like power stance is more like dominating, right? Like, or like I need to feel more powerful because I feel insecure right now. So people like do this, whatever. there's definitely like poses that you can tap into in terms of anchors that work. But it's just like adopting a normal stance of like rolling your shoulders back and just like almost do the counteraction of what everybody's doing. So rotate and just pull back. And then when you go to the gym, don't do tons of pushing exercises. Like just simple things like grab a band, you anchor it against a pole or whatever. You can high anchor it, medium anchor it, or low anchor it.
Yeah.
And you do the opposite of what everybody's doing. So if everybody's pushing, you're pulling, and it's just slow. And you're not doing heavy weight because you're not counteracting heavy weight because that's not what you're doing is micro things every day. So you have to do micro workouts to counter it.
Right.
If you do 8 reps with heavy weight, that's you building muscle, not counteracting the problem. So grab a band, pull it back, stay right here, and do a few pulses. Hold it, retract, boom, and just do that over time. And then when you're in the car driving, you can roll your shoulders back and grab the handle like this and just try to maintain that position. And then when you catch yourself, just go back.
Wow.
And it goes compounding over time, right? And what you're doing is mitigating the opposing force that's causing you to not be in a state of homeostasis.
Yeah.
Which is all that pushing motion. So it's just a lot of things. That's what I'm saying. It goes beyond having a good chest or a six pack. Or like, dude.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So do you think beds are bad for posture?
For most people, yeah. Especially soft beds. I feel like harder beds, and it's how you sleep as well. I sleep on my back and usually with something under my...
Oh, the leg pillow?
A leg pillow. Because you want the elevation. I notice a difference sometimes when... The last thing you want to do is go into a hotel room and get in bed the way you have it with those tight sheets and everything.
Oh, I hate those tight sheets.
Like this is what they do with your feet, bro. Like they wreck your feet and people sleep in them. They're like, I'm so cozy, and this is their feet over time. And they don't realize that it's all loose, bro. Like all loose.
That's the first thing I do when I walk in a room. I
lift
the up. Fuck those tight sheets, bro.
Yeah, literally.
I don't know how people think that's comfortable, honestly.
People are just programmed, bro. They go in there the first time, they try it, and they don't even think about, like, people just don't think.
When did you realize you were programmed? Was it in your 20s, teenage years? 20s? Yeah, same here. About 20, 24, 25.
Yeah, around the same.
Yeah, I grew up super Democrat, which is cringe. Like, grew up in Jersey, watching the news every day. So programmed, dude.
At least you're watching anime.
I know. Anime might have...
to counteract a little bit the bodying.
For real. Dude,
That's
it was
funny.
bad, though. Was it like a big wake-up moment for you?
For sure. It was a very aha moment, and it all stemmed from, like, the food, like, what we're eating. Because I realized, I'm like, bro, if what people don't understand is, like, what's your baseline? Like, how low or how high is your baseline in terms of your health? Because if it's really low and you're in your 20s and 30s, you can pull it off. When you hit 40 to 50, you're going to get wrecked.
Right.
Look at your dad. Look at your mom. Look at your grandparents. If you do the same things they're doing in terms of genetics and then epigenetics because of the lifestyle you're doing, you have a pretty decent blueprint what your life is going to look like. So you have to go like full dojo mode and like counteract that, bro. Like work out. So when you stop and you plateau, your baseline is so much higher that you're not worried. And then if you want to coast for a while, you can coast for a while, and then you keep going to the next level and the next level. Because I'm telling you, bro, like the last thing you want to be 40, 60, 70, 80, knowing that you're in your 20s and you had the information of like, oh, I could have. And I'm not talking about getting massive and jacked. I'm talking about flexibility, reducing inflammation, optimization, like reducing stress, like being able to squat down, a pistol squat, being 70 squat down and pick up your child, scratching your back, like normal stuff, dude.
Yeah.
Not like setting a new world record with a bench press. It's cool to have a good chest. It's cool to have a 6-pack or 8-pack or a 4-pack, whatever. But it's like, people don't understand that having an elite physique is not going to make you happy, right? Like, it's cool. Like, you'll break necks and everything in the street. But, like, a good physique is not meant to use as a tool for your own benefit, regardless of how that looks. We already know, like, the stereotype, which is smash. Like, oh, yeah, I want to go get chicks. Do you want to do it because you realize, like, your baseline, the way you operate is just so much better.
Yeah.
Like, everything feels good. Like, and I'm not saying it can't get better. It can get better. But I can tell you my baseline right now is so much better than years ago. Like,
wow.
I couldn't read a book and I feel like I was dumb or ADD or whatever. There's all the tap water, all this stuff. And I was just like, bro, I'm reading pages and I can't remember anything. Am I dumb or whatever? Like, drinking, like, tons of all the bad energy drinks. Like,
yeah. That used to be me, too. Tap water, Monster Energy, all that.
And like every day I'd do 2, 3, 4. Like, be like, bro, I'm like burning out, moldy coffee, like everything.
Dude, I would forget the sentence I read. It was that bad.
Yeah.
Now I
and
read every day.
you think you're dumb. Like, and
No, I thought
that's
I was
the
dumb.
problem. So guys, if you're at home and you feel like you're dumb, you're not dumb. You just need to change the energy input for long periods of time through discipline, and your baseline will be a lot higher.
Yep. Food pyramid is a scam, right?
Well, food pyramid was a construct. By whom and what was the intention?
I don't know, actually.
Oh, okay. So the food pyramid is basically a beautiful triangle called propaganda that is not optimal for human optimization. Going back to what we were talking about before, becoming metabolically flexible and tapping both into fat, just as well into protein, just as well into carbohydrates. You can't do that in a carb-centric pyramid. Very simple.
Yeah, because carbs is the biggest one, right? That's at
Well,
the
it's not
bottom.
only carbs, it's the quality and the quantity over long periods of time
Right.
with carbs. Carbs, I don't think they're bad if they're good, healthy carbs, and if you know how to cycle them and when you take them. Like you eating the right carbohydrate before or after work is completely different than you smashing your face 30 minutes before you go to sleep.
Right, with a pizza, yeah.
Right?
Plus
And you could could be carbs are good, but not the right time.
plus the grains here are fortified.
Fortified, like, I don't even want to get started with that. Like, fortified for destruction.
Yeah.
No, it's just not optimal. Like what we need, you know what we need? Mana. The issue is those are things from the past. Those are things from the old. So the idea now is like, what are the best ways to hedge yourself against everything that's occurring? And fasting autophagy is one of the most powerful ways. But if you're a typical gym bro that has to be every 3 hours, 4 hours, good luck trying to fast. If the world goes ham, I know I can fast X amount of days based on the fat percentage or my body composition.
Yeah.
I'm not saying like I'm shredding for that, but what I'm saying is like if I need to go through periods of fasting, I can go through periods of fasting and I'm fine. I'm not going crazy. I'm actually feeling exuberated. Because what people don't realize when you become metabolically flexible, right? It's almost like back in the day, your hunters and gatherers, they go through periods of fasting, their body starts being like, okay, we need food, better eyesight, better hearing, better concentration, better cognition, more speed, right? And it's a lot easier to amplify those resources if you're metabolically flexible and you got fat. Because what people don't realize is like, people ask me Big Bang evolution. I'm like, bro, if you study the human body, just where fat is stored, right? Like imagine if fat was stored around your neck, like all the fat starts here or over your shoulder. No, it's like we're bipedal creatures. We walk, right? Mm-hmm. And the fat is stored around our stomach like a fanny pack. It's literally energy. It's literally potentiated energy that one can tap into if you know how to use it. So I almost look at it as that. And I'm not saying fat is good. What I'm preaching is don't listen to the common crowd. Being shredded in a holistic manner is healthy. Because people are like, oh, bro, you look great. You look shredded, but you're probably unhealthy. You probably feel terrible. I was like, no, bro, I feel amazing. So do not put your pragmatic and dogmatic views based on a carb-centric diet in your paradigm can't be broken because you can't tap into fat. Like, don't put me in that box, brother, because I will shatter it every day and every day.
Yeah, there's a limit. I mean, you see the bodybuilders; they're dying pretty young, but
they're also on carbs, bro.
Right.
And when they cut carbs, you see them, bro. They feel like they're fainting on stage. They feel like they're dying, bro. I can tell you, I'm not bashing their workout style because their workout style is for hypertrophy and building a big muscle. I feel it's phenomenal, but their prep and how I think they could be way optimized.
yeah,
Like way optimized.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying like take out anything they're doing. I'm just saying adding on things that would make like you not fainting on stage. Like that's not healthy. When you're not metabolically flexible, you can't tap into fat. You don't feel good in a fasted state and you're pushing yourself. And you're eating ice cubes because you want to drop water weight. No, you could be drinking a liter of water and still look shredded. But it's like, how do you drink the liter of water? That's a whole different topic.
Oh, how do you drink it? I've never heard that.
How do you drink water?
Like, there's a technique you're saying?
Not technique, it's just like common sense. Like common sense for the people that understand it for what it is. It's like not eating food and drinking water at the same time, like stuffing your face, right? Because your body, when you're drinking water, this is what I do. I don't, and this, if you want to get shredded, first of all, warm water, room temperature water, not cold water.
Really?
Yes, 100%. If you want to clean bulk or you want to put on size or you don't care about your current composition, do cold water. For me, doing the shredded water, like the digestive tea in hot water was a game changer because you're toning the body from within.
Wow.
And then room temperature water, and it almost became like its own unique flavor, right? Because of the room temperature. And then I had cold water, I'm like, oh, this is kind of gross. Now I'm drinking cold water because I got used to it, but I'm still going back to the hot and cold. It's 30 minutes, 40 minutes before your meal. Drink something. It can be also even a digestive potion with like chlorophyll, apple cider vinegar, maybe a shot of lemon, maybe a little cayenne. You can do it in water.
Yeah.
Go for a walk, come back. Truth is, I feel like most people don't take time to actually think, bro. I think it literally boils down to that. Like most people see what's on TikTok, most people see what's going viral, and everybody hops on a trend without realizing like what's the purpose of the trend. Or like like everybody's doing bench press a certain way. Like, is this the most optimal way? Like, do it, but is this, always ask yourself, is this the most optimal way? And I tell people, like, think, who are you listening to? Like, I tell people, like, I feel like the best teachers are the ones that tell their students to be wary of their influence.
Wow, that's deep.
And you know what's the opposite?
Follow my lead.
A cult leader.
Yeah. Do everything I say.
Do everything I say, and I put you into certain trance states with certain psychedelic or subjects or whatever. It's all manipulation. So I think that's what I tell people. Everything, even in what I say, take it with a grain of salt. Like, you can, there's things that may be wrong, there's things that may be right, but take it with a grain of salt.
Right. Because there's new information coming out, new studies. Health is constantly.
A couple years ago, cigarettes was great. Everybody was smoking. Right. Now everybody has cancer for that, but it's other reasons. Yeah. That's a different story. And then sugar, they're pushing sugar, energy, whatever. And now it's like metabolic syndrome. Right.
They said kale was a superfood a couple years ago.
That's what I'm saying, bro. And everybody jumps on the bandwagon, and everybody gets emotionally with their bias because they come attached to this new dogmatic view, and they start hating each other. Vegans start cursing the meat eaters, and meat eaters start saying how like lame and pathetic the vegan diet is, and people just, I'm in there in the middle, just like,
yeah, that debate's been so overplayed.
I don't even care, bro. You're vegan, fine. Just like, I did the vegan diet, and so this is what I can say for the vegan diet. Most vegans are unhealthy. Why? Because first of all, their vegan diet is not a good vegan diet. Their vegan diet, perhaps that are not organic, or it's tons of carbohydrates, right? But also there's certain essential nutrients like retinol, vitamin A that you get from eggs. All right, where can you find that in the green spectrum? I'm not talking about like beta carotene, right? And then your absorption, how much bioavailable is pure retinol, vitamin A, right? I'm talking about straight up, like if you're a vegan, I tell vegans eat eggs and eat honey. Like, do that. Like, if I was a vegan, I would do those two things. Vegetarians, pescatarians, you're a little bit more lenient, but I feel like meat, bro.
I love meat.
Yeah.
Can't give it up. Only vegan I know killing it right now is Brian Johnson.
But he's a vegan with a lot of money and a lot of resources that can complement his lifestyle. Not everybody has the same budget, bro.
Right. He's spending $1 million plus a year.
And he's spending a lot on pills, bro. Like, not everybody has that budget, bro. Like, that's the truth. So if you look up to him, you have to be like, okay, how much of it is actually useful for me? I'm not bashing the guy. I think he's great. I love what he's doing with like bringing awareness with the gamification aspect so people can see. I'm not about numbers. Like, I don't even check. Like, I have to check my weight just to like.
You don't measure your blood at all? Really?
No. Now I will soon, because I have a theory, a game that I want to like record with a thesis. Even like testosterone, I don't check my testosterone levels. Now I would be down to do like not terrible, but like a less dojo-like diet and supplementation protocols to reduce it, like the baseline, get the test done, not look at the numbers, and be like, okay, give me a month and a half, and like up the numbers, and then do the test and look at both numbers. I'd be down for something like that.
Okay.
But not like checking and freaking out, like my aura ring, like, oh, did I sleep well? No, like, bro, since I've been fasting, I only sleep 3-4 hours. Sometimes I'll sleep 5 hours, 6 hours, and I feel phenomenal.
You serious?
I'm being dead serious. Now, guys, I'm not saying it's healthy. Like, I'm not saying, I feel like sleep is paramount and pivotal. What I'm trying to convey is your body operates in different manners. And when I was like clean bulking, I was putting a lot of weight. I had to sleep 10, 11, 12 hours. Tons of carbohydrate, tons of hypertrophy. I was up in the cold in the mountains, like hibernating. So my lifestyle was, also my goal was different, right? But I was sleeping a lot more. And I didn't feel like, oh, it's a waste of time or whatever. It's like, no, bro, I really need to sleep because I need to rest and charge up. And now, like, because I'm not killing myself at the gym either. You know what I'm saying? So now if I was training more, eating more carbs, adding more protein, yeah, I would need 7-8 hours. But I had a lot of work to get done, a lot of movement. And I felt good. Like, honestly, I feel pretty energized. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be curious. Your tea's probably pretty good, though.
I think so.
For all the stuff you're doing.
Yeah. I mean in an optimized way, it can probably be better. But what I'm trying to convey is, like, don't pursue numbers, right? Like, I feel like, and go back to scientific mind, bro. I'm not saying it's good. Like, I think, like, there's certain key parameters, like, especially if you're unhealthy, that you want to check, right? Like vitamin D level, magnesium, like, so there's essential things. What I'm saying is, I feel really good right now. Maybe there's a few things I might be off. I could check. But I know myself, and I know once I get into it, I'm gonna already start like geeking out. And I'm gonna start like, and I'm like, I just don't want to go down that, because I don't do Oura Ring, I don't do any of that. It's how do I feel? Because imagine, bro, like I feel like placebo effect could be a thing.
Could be. I don't like the trackers just because of the EMF too.
Okay, fair. I mean, that's already a great point by itself.
It's already in your house everywhere. The Wi-Fi. Like, why are you adding another one?
You're just adding another one.
I just found out I'm getting fried in my Tesla, especially when I'm charging it. And I just found out yesterday that when you use your MacBook while you're charging it,
Yeah.
some guy put an EMF meter up to it. It was 700.
Yeah, it was amplified.
Crazy.
Well, it's connected to the source. No, but think about it, bro. It's simple things that are super, like, also anything generator, right? So let's say all the stacks of the negative things that we mentioned before, you're going with that. You're like, okay, I'm going to change my life. I'm going to get my together. You clean up your diet, you do everything, and then you still feel like crap. There could be mold in the house. You could be sleeping your bed right next to a plug or a generator, or on the other side of the wall, there could be a fridge. And so all those things play a huge role. And you're like, dang, bro, this keto diet's not working. It has nothing to do with a keto diet.
Yeah.
The issue is people don't sit down and be like, okay, what's my environment? Where am I living in? Like nothing, bro. Like people just like go in there, all the perfume. Like, bro, I go into rooms where I'm like, I'm gonna
I hate perfume.
throw up. I'm gonna throw up.
I used to use deodorant and cologne. It's so cringe looking back at that.
I mean, it's what you've been propagated. It's what
to
they
get
tell-
girls, yeah.
To get girls to smell good, so you don't have to smell yourself. But no, do chlorophyll, do a detox, cleanse your body. What I do is, I'll do coconut oil, just a little bit
For your deodorant?
for deodorant. I'll do a little bit coconut oil. I'll do 1 drop of aloe because aloe is. I'm not sure in terms of potentiation of like going deep into the skin. It's correlation in terms of which one's stronger, castor oil or aloe oil. But it's lighter. It's not a base oil, so it's almost like it's almost like tea tree oil or peppermint oil where you only use a little bit. The reason when you use is because it's going to seep into skin. So I do coconut oil, aloe oil, and then 1 drop of tea tree oil. 'Cause it first of all, it smells great. It's an antiseptic. It cleans. So if I put that and then I'm in a fasted state, I'm drinking chlorophyll, I'm cleansing myself, I'm on a fruit diet, I'm reducing my meat a little bit. I'm not doing tons of protein powder scoops, right? Because those guys fart in a room, bro, and you can smell it like a mile away.
Those powders are
They're
gross.
literally dying. Like, and I'm not saying protein powder is bad. Like, I think grass fed, like, it's fine. I'm just saying the regular stuff that you're getting in the market with all the fillers, like,
Yeah, I used to be on those powders. And those
bro,
aminos
same. It's like you go to
supplements.
Walmart and just get the cheapest one. It's like protein,
$20.
Yeah,
Oh, man.
yeah,
And they taught you that was how you got ripped.
yeah.
You
This
know?
guys get jacked. Get this protein.
Yeah, eat 1 gram of protein for every body weight.
And I could tell you, like, if I start doing that crappy protein powder and take out the shower filter, right? Do stuff like that, I'll start getting acne. I'll start like just.
I had terrible acne as a kid, and they taught you to buy the creams for it. Like that would do
it's,
anything.
it's all outer solutions, and it's not. It's outer and inner solutions that have to combine together to create a certain state.
Right.
So it's cleansing the body from within and without. Because what people don't realize also is like, you can have a great diet, but if you live in a tropical environment, if you have tons of dead skin, you need to exfoliate that. Like you need to get rid of that. It doesn't matter how clean your body is. Like you still have dead cells on you. So exfoliation is great. You can do like in the shower, get some sort of organic soap, maybe a little baking soda, exfoliate your face with your hands.
Yeah.
Take that out. Maybe a little witch hazel with no alcohol. Slap your face a little bit. The reason you want to I don't slap my face all the time, maybe like once a week. But ideally,
Like just one big slap,
no.
or just continuous.
Continuous slaps.
Interesting.
So what you do is you put on the witch hazel and you slap your face.
Yeah.
The reason is you're causing micro like tears. And what you're doing is almost like the skin's opening up and it's absorbing all the witch hazel, right? So then your face is clean, base level. And then that's when you add the oils. You can do your coconut oil. You can choose whatever oil you want based on your goal. But the idea is clean baseline. So what people do is like, they don't exfoliate their face. Then they go and put some thing with alcohol. It dries their face
lotion,
even more.
yeah.
And then they put lotion with 50 ingredients.
And some of them are carcinogens.
Yeah, dude.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Body wash.
Yeah.
Shampoo, conditioner.
Yeah. I mean, most of the conventional stuff is all garbage, bro.
It's nuts, dude. And people were using that every day for years.
Yeah.
Body's resilient, but at a certain point, it's going to catch
At
up.
a certain point, your bad habits catch up with you. What you sow is what you reap. It's just a matter of time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you're top 5 on school.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I mean, it is kind of crazy. I honestly, I didn't really hear about school. Like I'd heard about school when Hormozy announced that he was in school, but I didn't really like pay a lot of attention to anything. And then I was talking with a friend of mine. I'm like, dude, I really want to launch the dojo now, Anime Shreds. But I don't. Here, give me a second because I didn't drink. My throat is like so dry. Oh, recharged. Okay,
Top 5 on school. You're on the leaderboard.
so the leaderboard, top on school. Yes. So talking about school, I love school. And I'll give you a plethora of reasons and vernaculars to look at it as to why I feel like it's a more optimized version for digital tribes, ecosystems, whatever. First of all, the layout, the structure, the team. First thing. Second thing is look at social media as a whole. It's an interesting dilemma because it's not what it used to be a couple years ago. And it always goes shifting and morphing based on a lot of factors that I'm not going to get into. Instagram is great, but now, like recently, I've been doing Instagram and I'll like log in and there's soft porn, bro.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not even following the accounts. I don't even know who the botted girl is. Like, I have no idea. And it's like if I'm gonna go on the internet on a private browser, I'm not gonna search on Instagram. So like, and I have an issue with it. Like, I have an intrinsic problem with it. The issue is like, I'm at an age where I can look at it and be like, oh, whatever. But if you're a young kid, if you're 8 or 9.
Yeah,
like you're opening up Pandora's box right there
right.
in a negative manner. That's one thing. School doesn't have that. Second thing, it's all built, like the whole layout, everything is intrinsically designed for communities. So I joined school in May. I checked out the whole ecosystem for 2 weeks. I'm like, okay, this is cool. Let's launch. So I just told everybody, hey guys, I'm opening the dojo there. And it's been really good. And honestly, like it's been really cool to meet people in real life that have linked with one another over calls or whatever. It's like, bro, game changer.
Yeah.
Because what happens is social media is not even, social media almost has to be looked at the vernacular as hyper connection, but no human interaction. It's all feed, it's all stimulus, it's all scrolling what's next. There's no human interaction. Like try chatting under a post on Instagram, like good luck, that's not gonna happen.
No point.
No. And then on Discord, like it's not feasible. So I feel like they did a really good job in layout for communities. Now, the problem is that's just raw potential. You have to come in there and be like, how do you serve the community? How do you build a community? What's your goals? Like people ask me like, who's your avatar? I'm like, the avatar was my young self. Like if I was a young kid that didn't know anything about it, what would I do? That's where I started. Like the dojo, that all came from there. Like it all stemmed from there.
Smart.
Like
yeah.
I would like somebody that watches anime, like why not? And the whole anime shreds thing was like anime shreds whole ecosystem to be disruptive in terms of like, I'm not saying go against the grain, none of that thing, but like question everything and realize that you can achieve a holistic, shredded physique, almost like the aesthetic of an anime character in a holistic manner. Like you don't need steroids. You can do peptides here and there that it can be beneficial, but you don't need steroids. There's a lot of things that people are preaching. There's a lot of things I'm seeing. And I'm like, okay, bro, like if somebody doesn't talk about this, like it's just going to keep going. Like the whole trend, like all that, I think is dumb.
Yeah.
Now, if it was beneficial and good for you, I'd be the #1 advocate. Or I'd be a top advocate about it. But I don't think it's beneficial or conducive in any way. And it's only growing more and more in popularity and it's only going more and more up in the market. And there's only more and more people interested in the gold rush, AKA make the steroids. And they're even worse because it's just not also steroids, the quality of. And then bro, people have lost nipples on steroids. So,
jeez.
Yeah.
What the
Yeah.
I haven't heard that.
Well, it's not like they fall off, but what happened, they had to get rid of it.
Oh my gosh.
And all stem from steroids. So that's what I'm trying to convey is like just looking at everything from a different lens. But the whole like anime shreds and body your hero came from like that anime archetype, right?
I love it.
Yeah. So if it came very organic, it took a long time. But the truth is, like, I see a high correlation between the meta of fitness and self-development realm and anime and that heroic arc. And it's kind of like meshing those two and telling people like, you can become a better version of yourself in a holistic manner, and there's a good community that can surround you.
Yeah.
So it's all about curating. Like if there's negative people in there, they're out. I don't care about $22. Like you're 22 and again, do nothing. But the people and the relationships that are forged there, because it's not like, oh, hey bro, how you doing? It's like, oh no, hey bro, you're also in Miami. Okay, like let's link up. And people like link up and everything is super cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, you built a community.
Well, what I did is it's kind of like, I mean, yeah, the community was built there, but like the whole idea, like the whole anime, all that, I've been pushing that for years. Like, and I didn't pitch anime shreds once, and I've had anime shreds for years, like 3 years.
Oh, even before school, you had it?
Oh, I've had it for 3 years. The IP, I've had it for 3 years. So people think anime shreds is school. So anime shreds is one facet is school. Like the actual anime, what anime shreds is, hasn't been revealed yet.
Oh, okay.
School is just a proxy for community and ecosystems that we want to forge. So it's something I've been working on for a long time, but I feel like it's really cool to have, especially like now it's not as weird, right? Like anime is not as weird. Back when I was young, it was super taboo. Like you're a freak. Like,
Same.
if you watch anime,
I was ashamed to even tell people.
And in the States, in Argentina, bro, if you watch, you're a weeb, bro. Like you're weird, bro. And I was into that. Like I was doing the whole like running with
hand
100%, bro. I was like nerding out, trying to see if I could do jutsus and stuff. But and it was almost like, dude, this is what I watch. Like this is my thing. And dude, and I learned a lot of things from those character archetypes and the stories and the messages trying to convey that I couldn't get from real life people. Because the truth is, you can create the story and the archetype and aspire to be something when humans are flawed. Like you see preachers all the time. Though great preacher, good preacher, and 50 years later they had sex with their assistant or whatever, and everybody then vilifies them. It was just a mistake. Like that's fine. But in this, it's kind of like, bro, he just fought Madara.
Right. Stakes are high.
Stakes are high. He just fought me. So I like that, bro. And I'm all about that. I'm a nerd. I've always been a nerd, and I've never shied away from it. And yeah, I guess some people are also nerdy that want to kind of like. And I also have people in anime stress that don't watch anime at all. Like they're not in it. Like they're like, bro, I've never watched an anime episode, but they're all about like working out in the sun with bands, oils, like potion. They're all about that. So they join. So it's cool.
Got both.
Yeah, you got both.
Nerds are running the world now, though.
I mean, nerds are smart people. Like ideally, you want smarter people like making those kind of decisions. And I feel like smarter people realize like I have to do something with my life because if not, things get pretty hard.
Yeah,
especially as you get older.
Nate, where can people join your program and find out more about you, man?
All right, guys. So school.com, SKOOL. Anime Shreds is there at the top. If you want to look like an anime shred character, shredded, peeled, but not pursuing it in a manner for materialistic endeavors or potentially getting laid, but you actually want to change your life and you want to take it to the next level in a holistic manner, I'll be waiting inside the dojo.
There we go. Cool. We'll link it below. Thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me, bro.
Absolutely.
GG's. So what's your favorite character in Naruto? Let's finish
Naruto?
with this. Yeah, like top 3 characters.
All right, top 3 in Naruto. I hate to be basic, but Naruto's up there. I'm going to go Jiraiya.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go Gaara, but pre-Shippuden Gaara.
Pre-Shippuden.
Yeah, I didn't like how they did him in Shippuden.
Just like Rock Lee. They nerfed Rock Lee.
They nerfed Rock Lee
and then in Boruto, like, dude.
I can't even watch Boruto.
I just pretend I just watched the Naruto show with Rock Lee, and I never watched Shippuden. I'm like, yeah, Rock Lee, yeah, he's epic.
He's goated in the original. All right, guys.
Good stuff.
Yeah.